Hey guys, Simple Programming Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to build a Chrome extension to view YouTube thumbnails. I've shown it off a few times in previous videos here and there just as a demo, but today I'm going to just show you how to build the full thing. So what it's going to be is when we click on a video, if we just click on a random video, what we'll see is that what we want is right up here where these Chrome extensions will be. We want to be able to click on it and have the full thumbnail pop up. Right here, and that way we can see any of them. So the first thing we're going to need to do is go ahead and actually create our thumbnail, or create our project, sorry. So here we go. If we have a folder already, nothing special about it. So first thing, just like with every other Chrome extension, is just making a manifest folder, or file, sorry. All we're going to need to specify here is the manifest version, which is true in every Chrome extension right now. We're going to need to specify the name of our extension, so we're just going to name it thumbnail display, but again, name it whatever you want. And then we'll just go ahead and put a description in there. You don't need to, but let's say view YouTube thumbnails easily. And now that we did that, we can put in the version, and we will be almost done. It's going to be 0.0.1. It's a really early version. We have nothing working yet. So now what we're going to need is we're going to need to specify some permissions, because we know we're going to need to use the user's tabs. Otherwise, we won't be able to get access to their YouTube the thumbnails, because we need the URL in order to get access to all of that. The other thing we're going to need is actually to make a browser action, and so that's actually what happens when the user clicks on our Chrome extension. So what we want is we want it to pop up with a nice little window. So we're just going to go ahead and name it popup.html, and then we're going to go ahead and specify the title, which is going to be what it shows when they mouse over the extension. Sorry. So it's going to say show thumbnail. Now that we have that all done, we can start actually making the Chrome extension, because all of our manifest is now finished. So we're going to go ahead and make a popup.html file, just like we specified in our manifest. What we're going to do is just make it just like any other HTML file. Just going to go ahead and do that. We'll just make all of them. I won't worry about that. I'm going to have to do that later, but first we can go ahead and do that. And we will need a body. There we go. So let me fix the indentation. And now that we have that all nice, we can go ahead and start actually making our Chrome extension. So we're going to need a few things. Most importantly, we're going to need our JavaScript file, which is going to actually get the YouTube thumbnail for every video that we want. So we're just going to go ahead and make that first, because that's going to be the most important part. Again, we'll just name it popup.js, and we will be good. So now what we want is inside of our popup.js folder, what we want is that every time the user clicks onto our thumbnail, or onto our Chrome extension, sorry, it gets the URL of our thumbnail. So when they click here, we want it to bring the thumbnail for the current YouTube video into this little display. So if we clicked here, it would bring this thumbnail, and if we clicked on this one, it would bring this thumbnail, and blah, blah, blah. You understand. So now that when we know that, what we need is the URL of the video that we're currently on, because every YouTube thumbnail is stored in the same way that their IDs are. They're stored by the ID. If we go ahead and hit view page source on any of these pages, we just look up thumbnail URL. Oops, sorry, thumbnail. It'll be the last one. Nope, there it is. It's this one, thumbnail URL. There's the thumbnail for this video, and you can see the URL to actually store it is right here. And there should be other ones that are slightly better quality normally, but that depends on the video. So now what we can go ahead and do is just go into here. What we're going to want is we're just going to want the URL, because once we get the URL, we're good. Everything else will be easy if we have the URL. So what we're going to do first is just add an event listener. And this is going to trigger when the content for the page is loaded. And now what we want to do is just use the Chrome.tabs API, which we specified that we want to use in our permissions. So that's something that the user will actually have to accept as well. When they try to install your Chrome extension, it will say, do you want to give permission to this Chrome extension to use your tabs? But everyone will say yes, so you're fine. And now what we're going to do is just go ahead and make that. It's very simple, but what it'll be is that T that we're passing here, I'll just rename it. I guess I shouldn't actually, but that'll be an array of all of the tabs of the user when they click on your Chrome extension. So what we want is, we know that the first entry in this array is going to be the current tab, and that's the one that we want. So that means that we know we can go ahead and say var current tab is equal to T0, and that's because that's the first one in the list. Now that we have that, we can go ahead and get the URL of that same thing and go ahead and say current tab.url. So now we have what we need to actually get the thumbnail, because all we needed again was the URL of that tab. So what we're going to want to go ahead and do is take the URL, and we'll name this var YouTube ID, because that's all we're just going to need to do current URL.split. And what we're going to want to split on is this part right here, because before that is just www.youtube.com, but after that is the ID of the video that we need. So if we just do that, we now officially have the ID of the video. If you don't understand why here, I'll demonstrate it right here. So if we just go ahead and print out current URL.split with this, and if we go in to our thing here and we go inspect pop-up, what you'll see is it'll pass out an array. It'll return an array. The first part will just be youtube.com, but the second part will be the ID of the video that we're looking at. So if you look here, that's because we're just getting rid of this part and then basically taking the part before and the part after. And so we just want the part after. So now we have it. Now that we have it, we can actually just go ahead and put that in with this URL that we got before. So you can just click view page source on any video to get the same URL, or you can just copy it down here. All you need to do is take out the part with the ID, so this part right here. So that is just going to be something else, and all we'll do is actually just do like that. And what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and put in YouTube ID there. So obviously that's not going to do anything in its current state. What we need to do is have an image for it. So if we go back into our HTML file, we can go ahead and just put an image and just give it an ID, and this will just be the thumbnail. Oops, that's self-closing. So now it's as simple as just document.getElementById. We just named it thumbnail, and all we're going to do is basically set the attribute. We're just going to go ahead and set its source to be this, because we know that is going to be the thumbnail that we're looking for. So now if we just go ahead and go back here, if we click on this, you will see it loads the thumbnail perfectly, just like that. Now, we're not done yet, because there's a few other things that we should put in to make sure that it works every time. So one really easy way to test, to show a way that it's not working, is if I just go ahead and look up my own channel, tutorials. It's still hard to find, but if I go ahead and play a playlist, you'll see that when I click on it, it breaks. And that's because this URL is not the same as the one that we had before, because now we have these extra parameters and list, and a lot of time we'll also have the index. So you can see that if it's more than the first video, we'll actually also have this index here. So obviously, when we split this part, when it's just a normal video, all we get is the ID. But now we get this whole thing, And so the URL we're trying to load is something crazy and not where the actual video is. Here, you can see we get an error. The good news is this is an incredibly easy fix. All we're going to need to do is basically just set YouTube ID equals YouTube ID dot split, and then all we're just going to do is just go ahead and do the ampersand, and then just do 0, and that right there will go ahead and fix everything that all of the extra parameters problems. You can see if we click on it now, it'll work, and it'll still work if we go ahead and go to a video. Whoops! If we go to a video that doesn't have a playlist, it'll still work. So that's great. We're done with that part. And now the only thing that we should really do or consider going ahead and fixing is just the style, for like the formatting. It can still be a little bit of a pain if the thumbnail is too big. We just want to go ahead and make sure that it never gets like massive. So if we just go ahead and make a new file, we'll just do a style sheet. All we really should do, I guess we don't even need to really change the size of the thumbnail, but one thing that we should probably do, this is up to you, this is completely optional, is just removing the margin and the padding just for the image, just to make sure that everything will look nice. And also, you probably want to go ahead and remove or hide the overflow on the body, and also go ahead and do that. This will just make everything look a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner in terms of our extension. Like, it'll just look a little bit better. If you look now, yeah, it'll load against the edges a lot closer. The border is just because of that you have to do it like that. So here you can see it'll look a lot nicer, load a lot cleaner, but you don't have to. But anyways, thanks for watching. I think that's all you should need, and you can manipulate this how you want. You can make it work on pages that aren't YouTube videos. If you wanted to maybe put in an input there where you could enter your own URL. You could also look up page actions and make it only work if you're on a YouTube video. I'll probably release a tutorial showing you how to do that later. But now that you have this, you should be able to work with it however you like. I'll put a link to download all the code in the description. And thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a nice day.